Hello, I am Yuri Bizzoni, and I will be presenting some Nobel laureates, some more coherent than others, measuring literary quality in a corpus of high prestige contemporary literature. This is a project within the group Fabulonet that focuses on literary quality. Now, the definition of literary quality is a highly complex problem that different schools have approached through different lenses. Quantitative approaches have explored various possible golden standards of what large numbers of people or literary experts consider high quality, and have explored their correlation with several properties of the text, such as sentence length or part-of-speech frequencies, or as in our case, the properties of their sentiment arcs. In this work, we build on a previous experiment where we showed that the sentiment arcs can predict whether a novel comes from a Nobel laureate to an extent, of course. So in these previous experiments, we have used sentiment arcs coherence to tell Nobel laureates works from control groups based on the idea that the Nobel Prize is a great recognition of literary quality. However, Nobel laureates production can vary, and some laureates' texts can be more appreciated than others. So here we use the Goodreads scores to find whether metrics that correlate with quality in previous studies using broader corpora of fiction keep their predictive power within the Nobel canon itself. We use a manually curated corpus of more than 9,000 English language novels, the Chicago corpus, ranging from 1880 to 2000, and which is selected on the basis of how many libraries hold each title. In total, there are around 86 Nobel laureate titles. We have extracted the sentiment arcs of the novels using Bader, one of the most popular and widely tested rule-based sentiment analysis libraries. Here you can see, for example, the detrended polynomial fit on the sentiment arc of Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea. And we have manually checked a small number of such arcs just to make sure that they corresponded to the text's developments. We define the coherence novelty continuum of sentiment arcs through three complementary measures: the Hurst exponent, approximate entropy, and arc compressibility. So in very few words, the Hurst exponent measures the level of self-predictability or long-term memory of sequences, so how much an arc tends to have a smooth direction and how much it tends to be chaotic or even mean reverting. Approximate entropy and compressibility instead measure the repetitivity and the redundancy of the sequences in different ways. So basically, for each measure, we have compared the probability of having high scoring versus low scoring Nobel titles using several different thresholds. And we have, of course, discarded all the divisions that kept less than 6 titles in one group. And our question was to see whether there were one or several thresholds that would make a statistically significant difference. So to come very shortly to the results, for the compression ratio, the t-test showed that the average compression ratio for each group that was most significantly different when the low ratings were defined as ratings below an average good rating of 3.5 and high ratings as ratings above 3.8. So the difference between the average compression ratio of books with the lowest ratings and those with the highest ratings at these thresholds is shown to be the most statistically significant. For Hurst, the t-test showed that the average Hurst for each group was most significantly different when low rating was defined as ratings below 3.4 and high ratings as ratings above 3.5. And finally, for approximate entropy, there was no point at which low and high rating titles could be discriminated while maintaining the minimum number of 6 titles in each group and a p-value, of course, below 0.05 in the t-test. So in summary, we see that there is a difference in contribution, in distribution in titles with regards to both Hurst and compression ratio at the interval between 3.4 and 3.6 average Goodreads ratings, as the clearest distinction between high and low rating groups is at that interval. We have also observed that novels with a particularly high or particularly low Hurst are more likely to have a low rating in Goodreads, which is interesting, as in previous studies we found a similar pattern also for popular fairy tales and novels. It may be that sentiment arcs with a very high Hurst become excessively linear and predictable, but those that have too low an exponent are perceived as too chaotic. For compression, instead, stories that are more repetitive has a smaller diversity of sentiment balances and are more likely to have a high rating. So basically, in both cases, we seem to converge on the idea that even within the canon of Nobel laureates, sentiment arcs that fluctuate more randomly are more likely to be rated lower. It has been noted group sizes differ depending on the threshold combination for each measure, and the lower rating group is always much smaller. However, it should be noted that the corpus series Nobel titles, which is generally have a high mean ratings, the fact that the two of the three measures can be used to distinguish between high and low rating titles is therefore quite interesting. We are currently complementing these measures with other textual stylometric features and using other proxies for quality beyond Nobel and Goodwix to expand our understanding of the concept of literary quality. Thank you very much.